All right, here we go. So, is this coronavirus news? I just read a headline. I was watching a video. It all seems to be like there's a coronavirus strain, so new one. So I'm assuming that's what this sell-off is. Do you have any confirmation of
I
that?
mean, you know, my opinion is you don't get these kind of sell-offs unless you have a position in the market that affords this kind of sell-off. And then they go back and they see this happen and they say, oh, what was the news to account for it?
Oh,
Oh, coronavirus thing.
I
So
see.
for me, I am not one that says news moves markets. It's more like markets move news.
That's
You know,
interesting. Yeah, that's
but
right.
that's just the way it is.
I forgot that about you. That's right. Okay, cool. Well, good. Hey, I'll take it. I don't know. It's like 1,000 points in the YM, so I don't know what it is in ES, but it is a gargantuan move. It's way past, it's double. It's probably triple sigma. In fact, I could find
Yeah.
out.
No, it's very big. It's very big. But I don't want to go into the whole thing of what I was going to say, but yesterday's close was also very strange.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it definitely was. Well, so I
so
mean, I think that presents a challenge for me personally. First of all, it's Christmas week, so I was actually going to be throttling down anyways and focusing on music, focusing on other stuff I want to do with my life this week rather than trading. So there's a possibility that I just watched today. Strong possibility, maybe. It's a little disappointing. I'm ambivalent. On one hand, I want to be involved in these larger, faster, highly profitable moves. On the other hand, um, it's freaking Monday. Monday is my worst performing day by far,
right, right.
by a country mile, dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, long and short of it is that I don't really have plans that I can work off of with structure off of a move this big. And I know, when you're always looking at somebody else's chart, it's so hard to see what's going on, usually. But the big thing is that if you go back, this move is a bear engulfing candle essentially for
Right.
30 day, almost 30, well, 3 weeks of action really. It broke
Hmm.
all the way down through this low. So,
Yeah.
long story short is, while I'd love to be elaborate and say I've got, well, this was going to bounce off of what I got to offer is I'm going to use the Globex structure itself. We've got this giant bell curve here. Oh, nuts, I don't have my Epic pen up. Got this giant bell curve here, which is going to be pretty reliable. And I actually plotted out the previous lows of day just because they're the closest reference.
Hmm.
But you got this nice bell curve here, and then you got a balance area right here. You can see it a little bit better on this Renko, or not Renko, PNF chart rather. So I think this is going to be kind of the key inflection point of the morning set of like the first move really. Do we break up through here, pull back and continue like this? That would be my return to balance scenario. Um, or do we stay in it and then break down, hold here, and then pull back up, and then kind of do this thing, which would be the balance scenario. It's basically what I'm anticipating, the two basic scenarios. So largely what I'm expecting to happen, not expecting to happen, what I'm prepared to act on if it does happen, is a push down that attempts to break lower, fails. We see all the signals of absorption, buyers stepping up and saying, these are dis, disgustingly low prices, and we're going to step up and see a move like that. And they may have already started that, by the way. My analysis of this area tells me that they may have already started that campaign. The second thing would be is that if we actually see a push through this area, and that probably will happen before the open, that is able to hold this level without making any real new substantive lows, and they were pushing back up, and the previous range is right around 30,000, so that would be a gap close. I really don't expect a gap close, but it could happen. I don't know. We'll see what happens. apart from those two real scenarios, the only other thing that I would think is possible is that we're actually not down to the downside. That enough people are caught short. And I don't know the mechanics or logistics of how this might work out, but are there people who are positioned up here who are going to let it go down here? Could that happen? I don't know. I mean, maybe small people, but I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. So, but what I have to be aware of the fact that if we're not set up for balance and we start seeing seller success at the lows, and what that means is increasing delta and price action, sell imbalances, increasing pace of bid. Well, I expect that low a day or that overnight low to go. If you look at this buy response compared to this sell response, it's basically not existent. So that's interesting. I
Hmm.
don't exactly know what that means. And then another thing that I can't easily point out, where did I remember seeing this? It's on a different chart. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull that chart up. But it basically, I don't have to pull it up. It doesn't matter. The point is that at the low, there was the highest delta of the day, which means there was no absorption. Or yeah, I think that's what I think that means. So as a result, is that even though they bought this up, this is a 30-minute chart. You see this giant wick there. It probably had more to do with selling, letting go, than it had to do with buying it up. Which one hand, six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But what it tells me is that if sellers mount a campaign, it's not as though, to me, reading Delta, that buyers pushed back. So we could see another push lower here, and again, I would expect on a very tiny break that would meet the scenario of balance, and then you'd see buyers step up. But
Hmm.
there's a big giant range to work with. Volatility's way up. I was looking at the candle size, just kind of last note here. I was looking at the candle sizes of the overnight moves, and they're well over my typical stop. So there's a lot that can actually happen. Hell, you could get a balance day that looks like a trend day in this range, just because of the fact that the average range over the last 10 days has been in the somewhere between 140 points, 250 points. Well, golly. I mean, that's right there's what's that? 750 to down to 350. That's 400 points right there.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think a lot can happen, and if I'm under control, I probably do more watching than I do trading, but probably should be that way anyways, huh?
I don't know. I like days like today myself.
I know you do because you're good at it.
I don't know if I'm good at it, but I do like these kind of days because they do offer multiple entries and multiple exits and multiple different time frames and all kinds of different things going
That's
on.
right. Yeah, that's definitely right.
Hey, I just want to point out in my big chart, because we've been talking about this for a week, is that I was expecting some sort of a break out of this range. It did push up, it did push down, and then push back up on Friday, and then obviously today we're trading here, okay, and the overnight low is here. So you could say we got a balance break to the downside, with that being the low area. So I'm just pointing that out because if that's the case, a measured move off of this is here. This is 50% of that move, and this is 100% of that move. And the 100% actually lines up with the 50-day moving average. So, a pull back to these numbers is, my longer picture, bigger picture kind of time frame now that we've done what we've done. And to me, this is bearish. There's no question it's bearish. It's not bullish. And in order for it to become bullish, the bulls have to do something, right? They really have to come back in here and make a stand and kind of start to take over, which I don't expect, frankly.
Can I say though,
So
may I interrupt you and just say, like, I practically love how well you stick in the higher time frame and you make it a part of your total analysis. I mean, even the fact that what you pointed out, those measured moves, it just inspired me to think about that. Yeah, I mean, the market really has just been running away, and it really does need a pullback.
totally. And
Yeah.
it's overpriced. I mean, if you look at it from any measure on a fundamental level, this market is higher than it's ever been in history.
Hmm.
And we're doing it in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, I don't want to talk fundamentals here because fundamentals don't make any sense right now. frankly.
Mm.
But we could pull back 20% and still be overpriced. So
Yeah, that's
it's,
incredible.
it's not crazy to think that. So I'm looking bearish today, and this is what I'm thinking. This is that same area, that 84 area. Okay, and this is also where there's a gap and a directional movement starts. So if you could see over here where this all started, you can kind of see that this is the launch of the move from this was the 84s is where the whole thing started and pushed up. I don't know if you can see it because it's all scrunched down, but basically it's this. That's what started this entire thing up here.
Mm.
So a pullback to that 84 area is, in my opinion, likely. And not only is it likely, it's also likely to have some support there. And from where we are right now, that would be 60 points lower in the S&Ps, which is a gigantic move. So I'm keeping in mind that we are on the day time frame, and I'm talking about very big moves here. But I do think it's safe. What my initial expectation is that we are going to push up, and we're going to try to get to this point of control somewhere up here at 59. I don't expect to get it. And I mean, this is the big shelf that's right here. I don't think we're going to get up there. I think we're going to try. I have orders standing right now to sell at 55s because I see on Bookmap, I see size coming in there. And then I expect it to roll over, and no matter what, we're going to test this something down here. Now, there's a very good possibility that this 20 holds. Remember that 3620 is the bottom of the range, right? This is where the weekly lows are put into place. This is the bottom of the range. This could be excess, right? I mean, that's possible. So an initial move down to 20 is my first expectation. I really don't even think we not do that on today. I mean, I just can't see this being a V bottom and we go up from here.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem likely to me. So I'm expecting at least a test of this 20 again. And if it holds, then we could balance in this area. And by the way, this is this is that LVN area between here and there. And, I think, again, the best that the bulls can hope for is to balance in this kind of area. If we slice through this area and start taking out the overnight low, then my 84 is a target. It's distance, it's pretty far away, but it's possible. Of course, we got the century mark as well. So my initial expectation, my battle plan right now is to be short anywhere from 55 to 59. I stop above this point of control area. If we get close to this area, I think we're going to get sucked in. So I'm not going to want to hold a short going into that. And that would be my secondary scenario right now, which would be something like we push up, we get past the 55s, maybe we do this, and then we push up into the 59s and start doing this. And when we do this, it's going to be hard to hold a short because I would expect that the moves are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-point swings back and forth in here.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, what I think is going to end up happening is some sort of a breakdown from that level back to that 20. And that's my secondary scenario, is that we kind of bounce around this point of control first and then find our way down to this 20 area. Hopefully that's not the case, but that's a possibility. And once we get close to the 59s, and when I mean close, I mean 57 area, it's going to pull that in, and we're gonna muck around in there. So that's my two battle plans. I would take a stop out on the if it turns out to be the secondary one, but I think we're gonna at least test this 20 area, and I'm gonna be trying to gun for that.
Okay.
And that's it.
Perfect. And I need to update one quick thing and say that my battle plans are I mislabeled them. They're gap balance and gap fill. So that's the one thing I just wanted to update here. But okay, cool.